I felt sick. I felt like I've done it again. Why can't I just get myself more organised? Why do I have to keep letting everybody down?
Yeah.
Letting myself down. And then it's that shame again, isn't it?
Yeah.
That comes up and you're just beating yourself up that you
can't get your shit
ADHD
together.
tax that you just, why can't you just do it?
Still making it fair.
Press record, Becky, when you start talking. You know, when you start talking and it's like about what we're going to do.
Yeah, then we need to press
record it.
So welcome back to ADHD Aunties.
Been on holiday.
Got a bit of a tan.
I mean, I've just been camping, so.
I mean, I went abroad.
British.
She looks browner than me.
That's it. British tan.
So we are going to continue with our executive functioning podcasts, and this week we are going to think about organisation, which we've just spent about 5-10 minutes debating which one we would do. None of them was really standing out for us, was it? So organisation is something that people might think that someone with ADHD might struggle with, and that it might look like, I don't know, like quite stereotypically like you're an unorganised, disorganised person, bit scatty, a bit.
I think there's like you said, there's a physical element to it, as in like how you present to the world. And then also there's that scattiness that you say, as in that kind of mental kind of how busy and disorganised or organised is your thoughts. Yeah,
I think definitely. It's like the organisation of thoughts, but also organisation of self.
Yeah. I think it's good to look at it in two parts in that way, because I find that, like today, I've got my shit together. You know, I was quite organised. Yeah, like I remember the microphones. There was like certain things that
I brought cake as well.
I brought cake into work, and so I brought my lunch today. I remembered like 2 cups.
Oh, and we had to bring a special item, and you remembered that as well.
So I think, but that's probably because of that, because it came with the level of pressure.
Yeah.
To be organised, because we've had like things in the chat this week, like don't forget.
Yeah.
Don't forget this item
and reminding.
Yeah. So then that kind of then prompts me into, I need to have that organised like day. And so again, like last time we spoke about spoons, like I've put some of my spoons to that, you know, like, so on the surface it's like, she's you know, she's got her crap together.
Looks organised.
Yeah, looks organised.
On the surface that, like you say, got her shit together.
I suppose organised in thoughts is like, it will be busier in there.
Yeah.
I
think to other people, I probably look like a really organised person.
It's something I always aspire to be as well. Like there's that whole expectation of, for me, around being organised, that for me is like a real positive thing. Like that for me is a thing that to the outside world, if you're organised. I remember doing that a lot when
got your stuff together.
I mean, the pressure for me when the girls were small to be organised and have immaculate packs
with all the nappies,
like that was that did not come natural to me, but the expectation to have that, you know, the little boxes with the little snacking, and like I've got enough nappies for the day. And believe you me, like it started
Aldi as you're out and about because you've forgotten your nappies.
Yeah, 100%. Like it started like that. I remember starting thinking, because that's the other thing about executive function, isn't it? Like we've talked about that it can change and like ebbs and flows and things like that. At times where that was a really important thing for me to have those organisation things together, because there was an expectation of it. And again, high expectations of myself.
Yeah.
That
perfectionist tendencies
that moved, whereas generally I know my default position is like, where's my keys, where's my phone, they're in the freezer.
Where else would they be?
I've got a message today actually from, I got to catch you it, but a message from Gary's like with a croc, and I was like, why have you got my shoe? And he was like, it was in the car. One croc.
Did you see that post that I shared at the airport where someone, literally there was a single shoe just going round on the conveyor belt of the luggage department of the airport.
Yeah.
So that's clearly someone whose organisation maybe not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
I think appearances can be really deceptive about organisation though, because
Yeah.
I know for me, like appointments, for example, if I know I've got a medical appointment, it's not just a case of, well, I've got it in my diary, so therefore I will attend. Like I booked a GP appointment in today for Monday, and the first thing I did as that appointment went into my diary was set 6 reminders.
Yeah.
So there's one 24 hours before,
Let's have a
there's
little look.
one in the morning of the appointment, there's one 3 hours before, 2 hours before, an hour before, and then there's one 10 minutes before. And I can promise you that I've had appointments like that where I've missed the 1 hour reminder and still missed an appointment on the day.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have that constant, like what you said about, like, we've had messages in the chat to remind us to bring stuff. If I don't have that level of prompting,
Yeah.
my organisation in my brain is so busy that my attention is being dragged to so many things across the day that
Yeah.
that appointment doesn't stay here in my working memory.
100%.
It's
And
in the midst of everything else.
this is where it we talked about how the
The
crossover comes.
yeah.
So like the planning and prioritizing. If it's appointment for me where I'm like, I need to go, like that's important for me to go, I need to be there. One, that sometimes brings in wait mode. So my organisation is like, how much space can I free to make sure that I am at that appointment?
Forget about everything
Forget
else.
about everything else. Wait mode. I'm going
until our appointment arrives.
Or the flip side of that is like that you hold. It's almost like you're holding it. Like I can only describe it as like plate spinning, in the sense of it's there. It's not actively. You know, like some people write it down and it's like it's there for when they need it. I feel like it's always there. Like my organisation for me is like my organisation in my brain is very much it's always there. There's like, it might be quieter, might come to the front at different points. Like it's that whole, like you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, all right, when's that appointment? Or when do I need to do that? It's that, when do I need to pay that bill? You know, it's that stuff. But
then there's all a panic that goes with it. So like my daughter at the minute, she's having like orthodontist appointments. A couple of weeks back, my husband said, when's your next appointment? And for some reason, I went into complete panic mode and thought it was that day and I'd missed it. And and then he's like, "Oh God, why didn't you tell me when it is? You should have reminded me. You need to make sure you're more organised and put these things in your calendar." And straight away, I was like, "Oh, I've let my daughter down. I've let myself down again. Why can't I just get myself together and be more organised?" And then I'm checking through my calendar, like, why didn't I set my reminders? And going back to all the emails, trying to find when that appointment was. And I'd not missed it. It was the following week. But in that moment, for like 3-minute period, probably, I felt sick. I felt like I've done it again. Why can't I just get myself more organised? Why do I have to keep letting everybody down? Letting myself down. And then it's that shame again, isn't it? That comes up, and you're just beating yourself up that you
can't get your shit
ADHD
together.
tax that you just, why can't you just do it?
I think organisation for me is the one that, like you say, that I kind of, when it's good, it can be really good, and I'm kind of like,
look at me,
and then when it's not, it really does open levels of like shame and or things go wrong, or I forget things, or I don't, it has a knock-on effect. And that's the bit I think that I will always struggle with. But I think also it's also a thing that where there's been times in my life where, like say when the girls were younger, that part of like to show that things change, organisation was a priority, and organisation was something that was really kind of going really kind of probably well at times, because it also brought routine as well. So that organisation, I suppose it's like, if I think about my kitchen cupboards, right? My kitchen cupboards at times have been organised. Like there's a system to it. Like I really strive to have the system.
You don't maintain it.
But to maintain it is like the pans are falling out.
Yeah.
Right. And literally the boxes full of like Tupperware are falling on me. But there is a system to it. Like there's tools and there's ways, and
You've bought the
I've bought the
tubs.
tubs, I've bought the racks
Yeah,
to put them in.
Yeah.
I've moved things around. I've watched a Pinterest thing. So again, like that aspiration to be organised is there, but the maintaining of it.
And the dopamine's there, isn't it, in the moment?
Oh
when
my
you've
God.
bought all
When
of
I
the
put on
tubs
my
and the
baking
baskets,
stuff,
and it's like, oh, look how pretty
I
it
remember
looks, it's
messaging
so
all my
organised.
family being like this is what I aspire to be. It's so funny actually that we're talking about organisation, because actually my mum, hi mum, I don't even know if she watches them, but I think she does. Mum sent us in the like group chat an Instagram, and it was all about like gadgets and tools of like organising your life. And like I just thought it's so funny, like there's three generations, like mum, daughter, my sister, who were all like, wow, like look at that level of like, I mean, there was all like little hacks and tools about ironing, and it was about washing, which is like the washing cycle of doom, like you do the washing.
Noticing I've got like a continuous face. As soon as you say something, I'm like,
yeah,
you
take it. I think even I was talking about it last night to Gary, because it was like something he said, you don't iron. And I was like, if I wanted to add ironing to the fact that I put the washing in, take it out or leave it in, then take it out, leave it in the basket and it half dries, to then have to start that again, or hang it out and it be creased or whatever, to then leave it on till it dries, then pull it off in a pile, not fold it, then move said pile to another part of the house, to then aspire to fold it at some point, then leave it in a pile for several days until I put it away. I ain't adding ironing to that.
Yeah. We don't.
There's definitely a lot of expectation as an adult, and as a woman maybe as well, like to be organised. You the answer to everything. I'm the one person in the house that people go, where's this? How can I find that?
Looks like the scissors.
Yeah, where's the scissors?
Scissors. So,
Mum.
Funny story. I apparently move things around constantly in my house. So my son and my hubby are constantly
we're organising.
Like, Mum, where's the scissors? Mum, where's the forks? Mum, where's the grist? Mum, where's the cereal? Mum, where's my clothes? Mum, where's
that sock?
Mum's, where's the Hoover? Mum, where's everything? It's constantly Mum's where? Mum, where is it? Mum, where is it? Mum, where is it? And apparently that is because I move everything around all the time. I don't quite think that's the thing. I think that those in my household who also struggle with executive function just use my brain to function for them, which makes my executive functioning even like harder. So their excuse one day, there was this big thing over a pair of scissors, wasn't there? And the excuse was that it's because I constantly move things and nothing has a home. And then that same day we went to stay at my mother-in-law's caravan, didn't we? So Ash had never been in the caravan before, and she calls me, Beck, look. And I turn around and she stood there with a pair of scissors in her hand. She's like, found them myself. I was like, yeah, you see, you can do that, but they can't apparently. So
our friends and family are going to love this.
I think, we just, sorry. I think the thing with organisation is it is, like what you're saying about that mental load that goes with it.
I think we should talk about that. Like the organising of thoughts for me is like another, like that's where things are hard. So like what things need to be at the forefront of my attention. That whole prioritising stuff comes into there as well. Like I am thinking about things I shouldn't be thinking. I'm trying to organise stuff in my brain that I shouldn't be dealing with at times that I need to. Like you can guarantee, I see it all the time in like interactions with the girls where they're like, Mum, like they need me present and stuff like that. But because I'm deep in thought, or there's something else that I'm putting my mind to, like the organising of my thoughts is a really difficult thing. And that's where I think, like you say, that outside, you can look really inattentive. You can look like you're just easily distracted. Like you're not bothered, and this is where like relationships can really struggle as well. But actually, like organising of thoughts as an ADHD person is
because there's so many things that you try and organise at once, isn't there? Like it's have the kids got what they need for school? Have I got stuff in for tea? Have I got everything with me what I need for work?
Everything's like a mind map. So you like think of
everything
one thing and then it leads you
to
to another
thing.
little thing. And like you see it in conversations a lot. I think a good example is like have a conversation with someone with ADHD because by the time they've told you the story, you'll have had several other stories in between that. Gary notices that
But we
loads.
love that about our
Oh yeah, we
conversations
do.
with each other, don't
Yeah.
we? Because I
we
notice if
can
I have a
keep up.
conversation with someone who's not ADHD, I'm very self-aware that my organisation of my thoughts probably looks, again,
But like, can we just come back to
this? Like, let's
what we were
focus a
talking
second,
about? Yeah.
where we'll have a conversation and we'll probably have maybe sometimes 3, 4, 5 conversations at a time, and we're able to
and we get back there.
We get back to where we need to be, but we do that really well.
And then we ring each other later on, we're like,
oh,
what I was going to say.
We didn't finish that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that kind of pinpointing, keeping the stuff that you need to have prioritized.
I think as a child, I think I definitely felt that because I would, especially in say like school settings and stuff like that, because probably there was an expectation, like if I'm talking about English and then I start to talk about my experiences of something that's been brought into an English room or as a discussion, it's like keep on task. And I know there'll be points in my like your report where Ash doesn't keep on task, and I think again that's another level of like, yes, there's procrastination and that, and this is what I mean, executive functioning, it's yes, it's split into those 8 categories, but we have to also talk about the spoons in that. There's working memory in that. There's stress and anxiety and relationships that have impacts of that. There's timing and hormones and things that happen in life and stuff, but it affects us all. But we're here to kind of highlight what this feels like for us, and to hopefully for other people to kind of have some validation understanding of it's, yes, it affects all, but it's also very validating for me to be diagnosed
as well, isn't it?
Yeah, like that's, again, it's come with diagnosis for me to be able to go, I'm not scatty. I am.
No, you're not.
But we
still do that all the time. We were talking about that today.
Yeah, we said
that we still
kind of
we minimise
done it again,
and we name call ourselves all the time. We're just a bit scatty.
I'm not scatty.
We're not.
My head's full. Like my head's full. Like it's so busy.
Yeah. It can probably lead to some kind of like quite obsessive behaviours, organisational needs. I'm just thinking like, it's probably not a very good example, but I'm thinking about like when I go on holiday, I need to plan quite significantly what I do. So like in a few weeks I'll be going to Germany. And I've planned each day like down to the time of when we'll arrive at which different part of the Black Forest in Germany, what time we'll be leaving, what time we're going to be at the hotel.
See, I'm good at that.
And I'll do that whenever I
did that for our trip
on holiday. I didn't do it with this trip I've just had, because I think the point of this trip it was a girls' holiday, and the point was to just relax.
So you went with it.
So I went with it, and there was no demand and no pressure, because it was just a beach holiday. The purpose was to sit at the side of a pool, where the trip around Germany is going to be about travelling and going to different places. So like when I did Poland last year with Finley, and I've done Paris with my daughter, all of those trips I have planned them like very meticulously. And that level of organisation, I think for me, is about reducing anxiety and feeling like there's some control.
That's interesting, isn't it, about the organisation and how that potentially could fit into that bracket of control as well. So like I'm thinking about how others can sometimes maybe perceive me, or how I've perceived others around organisation. But actually, if it's linked to something like your executive functioning, and it is about like reducing levels of anxiety, it's interesting, isn't it, how potentially others could face labels of like they're quite controlling.
The reason I feel I need to plan that trip is that if I just arrive in Germany, I'll go into a bit of a panic about where I'm meant to be, and then I'll miss things and I won't do the things that I want to do. So by doing this level of planning and organisation, some people might just want to turn up and go with the flow, but
I like the idea of that, but I don't think I've
don't
ever
feel
done
like
it.
I can do
I
that.
think that's the thing with again, there's different levels of it, isn't it? Because there's different times in my life where I'm like, yes, c'est la vie. It'll be what it'll be. But there is a lot
I
of
actually sang that in a
times.
competition when I was
Did you?
11. I won. No, I'm not doing the rendition.
C'est la vie
Yeah, C'est la vie
by Bewitched.
Is it a Haven Holiday in Isle of Wight? I think it was.
See what I mean about that? Like
and I
conversation led to another story.
I won.
Yeah.
Won a holiday, actually.
Did you?
To Haven, yeah. Back when Haven Holidays used to
From
give
singing?
prizes of holidays.
Well, I didn't know that about you. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Becky sang C'est la vie.
But yeah, I think organisation for me, the idea of it is something that really appeals to me, and I strive for it. But sometimes at what cost? Because it is harder to do, and that's where, like last time we were talking about spoons comes in.
Yeah.
Certain amounts of spoons to be organised, it could wipe spoons in certain situations for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But for some, it also, for sometimes it comes very easily.
But then sometimes if I've not got things organised, then that uses up lots of spoons as well.
Yeah, it
I can't
does.
think of an example now. But
Well, I'm thinking about the washing.
well, yeah.
That stresses me out.
It stresses us out
Because
so
I can
much.
see it. Like, I can see my disorganisation.
Like last night,
And
it was like the kids needed uniform again. And it was like, oh, it's not washed. But it shouldn't be. It was washed, but then it turned out that it wasn't washed.
Yeah.
So we thought it was organised, but actually we weren't organised. So this morning, it meant getting up earlier to go down and put the shirts into the dryer.
Yeah.
So that the kids had a dry school shirt.
Yeah.
So it's that knock-on effect if you're not organised.
Yeah.
The impact it then has on things like having to get up earlier. And again, that's like in the morning, like, why can't I just do this? Why can't we just be organised?
And again, I think a lot of people that maybe sit and listen to this will be like, well, everyone's like that, aren't they? Everyone does that. Yeah.
Occasionally, maybe.
Like you say, it's
not a regular thing though. For everybody, and that's the difference.
And I think especially in the thought stuff, you know, like this is what I mean about surface level. We can appear to be organised and be able to get through the day, and you know, we all develop skills as adults, as humans, as you know, there's routine that really helps in that structure, all of those things. In regards to organising thoughts, like I wake up and it's boom. And why the hell would I want to be thinking about the cost of strawberries at 6:30 in the morning? I wouldn't. You know, why do I sit there and think about what's happening tomorrow when I haven't even got through the day? Why do I wake up and think of the several things on a to-do list that suddenly pop into my head because, you know, last night I was burnt out and tired and done, and then bang, as soon as I wake up, I'm going straight into what needs doing, and when that does, and that sometimes is the deliberating part of, you know, the thought process of being ADHD. It's the bit where, and that's where overwhelm can come in, isn't it? Like, you know, organise your thoughts, because really I just want to get up and have a cup of tea. I'd really like to just wake up and think, let's just have a cup of tea.
Slow start.
Have a slow start.
But
and sometimes your brain won't allow to do that. So on the surface, I can look like I'm having a cup of tea. You know, I can do that for myself.
Like a swan.
You know, I can still do the whole, right, I'm going to have a slow morning, get up and just have a cup of tea. I think it's I'm still organising in my head. And it's not quiet time, and it's not peaceful time. It's not a controlled time where I can think of what I want to think of.
I describe it as binge thinking.
Yeah, but it's almost a bit intrusive, isn't it?
It is.
Like intrusive thoughts.
It's intrusive thoughts. I remember, so before my ADHD
but not in the sense
diagnosis,
of like intrusive, because the label of intrusive thoughts is kind of bad thoughts of self-harm and stuff like that. But it is unwanted thoughts. It's unwanted thoughts that I don't want, that don't help me kind of organise how I want to be and how I want in my day. You don't really get this
was the thing that I first described. So before I had my ADHD diagnosis, so back as a teenager, my early 20s, I was saying to my doctor, I had CBT, I was saying my brain doesn't stop. It is constant. And I described it as binge thinking. I was like, it's like, I want my brain to be quiet. I want my thoughts to be quiet, but they're constant.
Yeah.
And nobody ever at that time linked
See, I didn't have that insight.
hyperactivity.
I didn't even have that insight that everyone else wasn't like that. I just assumed.
I don't think I knew that everyone else wasn't like that, but I knew that I couldn't cope with it.
Yeah.
And I was saying, this is too much. It's too much for my brain. It's too much for me. I am tired. I am overwhelmed.
I just want it to
brain
stop.
doesn't stop. Everything's now. And this is where when we talk about like attention deficit, it's not that I'm deficit with attention. I've got so much attention, but it's everything wants my attention now. So to organise my thoughts and on what is the priority, that can be really hard. And I was talking to somebody today at work about how my brain can work so quickly that I'll see 10 steps ahead. And it can be really hard then to communicate that to other people because I've already filled in all those gaps.
I can't just remember what you sometimes.
And I just expect other people have also got that level of thought that they've also, got all those 10 steps ahead of like I have. But they've got to remind myself that they don't.
They don't do that.
But then to try and organise my thoughts, to get all those 10 steps out, to describe to somebody why I'm thinking this is kind of like what we need to do.
I'm trying to think of
that can be really hard for me to do.
A good analogy to kind of describe like how like, and everyone's different, but how for me organising of thoughts is like how they're organized, like how they're categorized. It's almost like I think it's like
yours are categorized.
Well, no, they're not. They're really not. It's chaos. But I kind of see it as in like a tiny door, and like everything's trying to get through that tiny door at one go. But it made me think about that time that you told me about squirreling, and that's very much organising of thoughts, isn't it? Because you can be present, and like this is where I think ADHD, like again, attention deficit, we can be seen as distracted easily. You're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. But organisation does come into that. I've never really thought about it before because, like, there's a squirrel. Straight away.
It's that organisation of thought.
My mind's going into.
I'm actually looking at if
they're in a squirrel. All right, you literal. We've done that so much today. I'm going.
There was a robin a minute ago.
I'm here talking to you guys, but like, I'm also thinking, oh look. And so my organisation in regards to my thoughts is going into, where's that squirrel going? What's that squirrel's journey? I do that. You're like, where's that squirrel been? Oh, cute. It's that, and you actually do call it squirreling, don't you? Where you're like, you can be talking something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh look, Brad Pitt. Maybe not Brad Pitt. But yeah, and it's straight away the organisation is thrown. Whereas, and I suppose people would see that as like distraction, but for me, I could be like that. So I go back to the conversation and be like, "Hi, I'm here," and I still could be thinking about the bloody squirrel. It's that stuff.
The other week when you were talking to me, and I was sat there and I was like,
yeah.
And then I went, "You're just gonna have to say all that again because I wasn't listening." And she went, "He was looking right at me." He was like, "Yeah, that should be a giveaway that I'm not listening." And if I'm looking elsewhere, then I'm probably listening. If I'm
there's like
at you, I'm probably
organisation of thoughts and distraction. And I think ADHD, if we think about, I think we haven't talked a lot about. We did talk a bit about masking, didn't we?
A little bit.
Yeah. So in regards to what's expected, keeping you up, what's expected of us, we develop really good skills to look. Especially if there's not a shame around being easily distracted, inattentive, disorganized, scatty, why can't you just stick to the conversation? I'm having a conversation with you now and I just want you to stick. That's what you're holding all the time. So without realizing you do, and also there's I like talking to people. I don't want them to think that I'm not interested in what they're saying.
Being rude.
But if they're not holding my attention because the squirrel's over there, yes, I will be taking and getting it in, but my thoughts are elsewhere. And it's the same with that's seeing something. It also doesn't work with just seeing something. If I've got something else going on, and
that can be now,
that's in the front of my brain, and I might look on the surface like I'm taking it in. So if we think about educational settings and school and kids that are dealing with other things outside of school, and we want them to be present, for someone that is neurodivergent, that is something really harder because of organising our thoughts. Yes, there could be trauma and stress and other things that are in that as well, absolutely. But in regards to being able to pull themselves into that space, to be able to learn, to be able to organise themselves,
Yeah.
I think that's where organisation
well,
is
just
not always seen in that
thinking
way.
on that topic of kids as well, you know, like I'm just thinking about when kids move from like primary to secondary school, and there's that expectation then that they've moved up to high school, they're going to need to organise
Oh.
themselves that bit more. They need to make sure
Bring
they've
your
got their bag
books.
ready, got
You
their
bring in your
books, bring their
books, kit,
pack up bag, PE kit.
even things like remembering to
And
wear their tie.
as parents, you know, we have done that for them throughout primary, and then we think, right, well, they need to learn that for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really important to emphasise that if they don't get it because of executive dysfunction, no amount of telling them off and no amount of
They need
shaming
tools.
them
Tools.
is going to make them remember
Yeah.
to bring their stuff next time. It's not going to make them be more organised.
Yeah.
And I've got a saying, haven't I, that I use quite a lot about, you know, we need to scaffold, not scold, because telling kids off will not make them, it will not fix their executive functioning.
Yeah.
It will not fix their executive dysfunction.
I think that's...
Could you imagine if you came to work and you'd forgotten something and I told you off?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what do you mean you've forgotten your
left my laptop.
You left your laptop. You know, right, you're in
laptop.
detention now because you weren't organised, because of your disability.
You don't have a pen.
You don't have a pen. Because of your disability, you're now in detention at lunchtime.
Yeah.
You can't go out for your dinner. You can't go for that walk.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we did that?
I have a pencil case that is often not in my bag,
With
and that's
pens,
because with my skinny pen, and that because often, you know, I take it out for something else and don't put it back in. You know, oh, where's my pen? Oh no, I've got one in my bag. I'll use that pen. And sometimes I take things out just to then reorganise and don't put them back in. It's kind of that stuff, and I know, and I definitely know, like both my girls, and hi girls, and I'm really sorry, but like it's taken me a long time as a parent to then understand that myself and not blame and scold them for doing it as well. And we still, you know, we still have moments where I think things like homework, you know, things like that, I haven't written it down. Yeah. And then it was kind of like, and I remember having an absolute wonderful conversation with the teacher where it was about what can we do to support, as opposed to getting a detention for not writing that down. What about if I share that with you? What about if I put it in a planner? And that, you know, might, for some, hearing that might go, well, how are they going to survive in life without that? Well, I'll tell you what, I've got that as a tool now, as an adult.
Because
where
we do it for each other.
We body double, we remind each other of things.
Colleagues, remember to bring your special item that makes you smile to team meeting tomorrow.
If you looked at my calendar now, it's got reminders to even check in with people, you know, like it's stuff like that. So in regards to, you know, I'm a post-it, you know, do they always work? No, they don't, you know, definitely not. The post-its I write down and forget, a list I write down and forget. We all are on that journey to trying different tools, and so are our kids, you know, like, and I think to allow ourselves to help as parents, you know, also like, you know, when my daughter forgets her PE kit for the 5th week in a row, you know, it's annoying to have to take that in and stuff like that, but also I'm still working on stuff like that now, and also we spend a bit of time to look at, well, can we leave it somewhere? You know, like, you know.
And that's where you need to look at the strategies of how can you remember it next time? And that might be, like me with my appointments, setting 6 reminders every night before she's got PE and in the morning to make sure that PE kit's in her bag. But telling her off for forgetting it won't make her remember it next week.
It's even things like, you know, I know I've got a cat at the vet's tomorrow, and they've sent me a text. I didn't know that. It wasn't on my priority list, you know, sorry, cat. But, you know, that text has helped me. Now, there's a reason why. She never used to get texts for appointments.
Do you know what?
They've started to put things like that in place, haven't they? Just naturally. Do you want a text to be sent out? Do you want a reminder? Yeah. Why is that? Because a lot of people were forgetting their appointments.
But it's funny you say that, because I had a GP appointment, remember, last Monday? 9 a.m. Monday morning. I forgot. I didn't go. Not because it wasn't important, because it really was important, but because I'd had so much other stuff that my brain had to organise over that weekend.
And then it just got pushed.
That Monday morning, I didn't remember. I think it was 10:30, and I remembered that I should have had an appointment. But I'd not got that. I'd got that text reminder on
Yeah.
the Friday, so it wasn't close enough
And I do
to the appointment.
I do a lot of things now. I think because of, again, like because my organisation and things like appointments have failed,
Yeah.
like sometimes I don't even write appointments down in
Yeah.
times because I believe my brain is so full, it'll hold it.
Yeah.
And like to my own detriment, of course, that doesn't work because come the time where I'm at the appointment, I'm like, I'm sure it's 3:00. Oh no, it's 5. You know, like totally different time frames and scales. But you also can become very complacent, I think, having a busy brain where you just hold that information. And this is where things like burnout, forgetfulness, the scattiness and stuff like that. So I sometimes am really like, oh yeah, I'll remember. No, because then I write it down and forget. So again, because they don't kind of work all the time for me, that organisation and the tools I have to, you know, there's reminders in my phone to get in touch with people every week. They don't always help because if I don't look at them or I ignore the reminder, and again, this is because I'm organising my thoughts all the time.
You're organising.
Yeah, I'm organising my organising. So yeah, so I think it's also, I mean, I hope out of anything, you know, being organised is something that's a really social expectation in lots of ways in different settings, from work to school. But actually, for some, it's so natural and they do it so lovely, and you know, well done to you.
Yeah.
But for some, I think it's just recognising that it's not incompetence. It's not a lack of
intelligence. It is,
gosh, no,
a dysfunction.
It's not that scattiness
of that control panel.
You know, it's not the blondness and the assumptions and the labels that we can put. For some, it really is around the fact that times we absolutely can and sometimes it absolutely can't, depending on other things.
And that is a huge part of why ADHD can be seen as a disability.
Yeah, and I think it's about supporting people to recognise that being organised can be improved, and there's different things that work for different people, but also that expectation that it is, I'm going to be organised all the time is something I definitely don't give myself the grief I used to. I'm kind of like, if I turn up and I've forgotten my laptop, that's something I'd be like, you idiot. Like, what? Who does that? We
had a laugh about it, didn't we?
I can laugh about it now, but there would possibly would be a time that I'd really give myself a hard time about that.
I think now we do just laugh about these things. Like, what would beating ourselves up right now achieve? Because it isn't going to make the laptop appear.
Yeah.
It isn't going to make it different.
And also, you've got to remember, I think a lot of people with ADHD have got that toolbox, as in, like, if I don't have my laptop, I'll use my phone. Like, there's a lot of solutions that I have in regards to organisation. Like, if I'd have forgotten that thing today, we had to bring something that made us smile, and we'd had those reminders, blah blah. If I'd forgotten something, I'd have something. I'd have winged it. So there's always, I think, that side of people, and this is where, you know, let's talk about jobs. Let's talk about the jobs that people with ADHD can go into where we think, I'm not an organised person because I'm scatty, you know, because I haven't got that together. I work in a job where absolutely organisation is important part of being able to do my job. Have I gained tools along the way to be able to effectively do that? Yes, I have. So I think it's about, you know, when we talk about the certain things that can hold people back, you have the ability to do it. Like, people that see themselves now as being disorganized and I'm not very good, you know, if they recognize the washing cycle
for you, isn't it? And not assuming that just because, like, what works for Ash doesn't mean 100%. It would work for me. So it's about finding what works for you.
Post-its might be like the answer to your prayers.
We've done 40 minutes.
Okay,
we didn't even have anything to talk about.
Well, we've missed you, that's what it is. Yeah. No. Okay. Well, hopefully everybody's doing okay. Hopefully, you know, this has given you some food for thought and you're off home to organise your baking cupboard or your pots and pan cupboard.
And you're going to stop shaming yourself when and forget your next appointment.
Leave it if you want.
So we give you permission to not beat yourself up the next time you forget something. Because your brain is trying to store so much.
And we'll see you next week and we're going to think of some other things, aren't we, to get chatting about. So see you later. Bye.